Thank you, Jeffrey Lurie. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Let's go.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they did it! They did it!
Left.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah! What the fuck are you talking about?
Folks, Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
And here we go. Welcome in, everybody. This is Monday Morning Quarterback, only on A2D Radio. We are brought to you by the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. We know many of us and our families deal with mental health and addiction issues. We are happy to support the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. If you need help, please don't hesitate to call 856-651-8117. That's 856-651-8117, the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. Tom Arnone, Ryan Brodo, the family out there joining us. Welcome in. We'll do Sixers Mavs pregame. That game tips off at 7:30. That's an ESPN game. We'll go a little Phillies Mets pregame. They go to Flushings for 4. So a little 4-piece in New York. And can they figure out a way to win 3 out of 4? Can they? You know, they'll have Wheeler and Noel going in this series. So we'll do a little pregame Phillies Mets top 15 NFL mock draft. So we'll give you who goes 1 to 15, because really after that doesn't matter to us because we're out of 12. So you're lucky you got that 15. You're lucky we're giving you and nice enough to give you the 15. That's what we're doing here. A bunch of goddamn givers. Okay? A bunch of goddamn givers. But our main topic at hand is surrounding the Philadelphia Eagles and a report by The Athletic as of this morning that really makes a lot of people look bad, and it makes a lot of people to do what we do look really good, because there's been plenty of people that have talked about dysfunction and starting at Jeffrey Lurie, right? There's plenty of people who talked about scapegoats. We'll get into all of it, and all of that's going to tie into our poll question, brought to you by Body Check Wellness. You can use promo code A2D, 20% off at checkout. That's bodycheckwellness.com. Promo code A2D, 20% off. There are a line of products that promote balance, recovery by using the full potential of hemp. So go check them out, bodycheckwellness.com. Our poll, Jeffrey Lurie is the real reason for the Eagles' downfall. And I would say since 2017. I think you can put a little since 2017 in there. Agree or disagree. Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. That's where we're live. Everywhere you get your podcasts, we're there as well. Like, subscribe, follow. Talk Eagles with us. Do a little mock top 15 with us, because that'll be fun. And let's pregame some big events tonight. Let's pregame some, this time last year we had none to pregame. Feel good. You should feel good. You should feel good. A 6-3 baseball team. And, the Sixers, first in the East.
We have some breaking news here. The Phillies Mets game tonight has been postponed. So we were talking about having a pregame, and it's been postponed.
Weather.
Yep.
And now they want to postpone.
Yep. Didn't want to postpone the Mets game. What was it, yesterday, Tom? But yeah, so
much for that. You can
Sixers. Hey, we got the Sixers.
6-3. We say 6-3. So we'll probably. Sorry, they're showing it now. That was last night's game. But we do have the Sixers, and we have the roast of Jeffrey Lurie. In the poll, Jeffrey Lurie is a real reason for the Eagles' downfall. Agree or disagree? I agree now. I agreed months ago. I agreed months before that. I've agreed for a pretty long time. Not as long as I've agreed on Howie Roseman, but for a significant amount of time. I know other people out there have. I'm not the only person who who will agree with this or has agreed with this. His hands are too much in everything. He wants to be a football guy, and he's not a football guy. And it's really as simple as that. And then you talk about the stuff that comes out from the Athletic this morning, and what was supposedly going on. That's mind-boggling to me. You're treating a coach like a baby. I mean, we all sort of expected that. And when Doug got fired, I yelled and screamed about how he was a scapegoat for all this. Like this wasn't his doing, right? This was their picks, their decision making, and they literally critiqued everything he did. And then they wouldn't give him a seat at the damn table, right? So you're giving a Super Bowl winning coach, you're not going to give him a seat at your table who played football. You know what I mean? He doesn't get a seat at the nerd table. Man, times have changed. Usually it'd be the other way around. So, I don't know how people couldn't agree. Right. I mean, we can talk about Howie Roseman all we want. Right? We can talk about him all we want. I mean, he's bad at what he does. But when the owner is Jerry Jones, wants to be Jerry so bad because he won one. This is the same stuff that happened in Dallas, except they won 3. You guys understand this? Like they won, or however many they won with Jimmy Johnson. Would they win 2? I forget how many they won with Jimmy. 2 or 3?
I thought it was 3.
Right? And they won one with what's his face after. So I got whatever. That doesn't really matter. But it's the same thing that happened. It's the same thing that happened. Jerry Jones felt a certain way that Jimmy Johnson was getting all the credit. Okay? Who's got the statue? Not Jeffrey Lurie's statue. So we're all talking about Carson worried about a damn statue. It looks like Jeffrey should be worried about the statue. It's your hire. It's your hire, and then you don't trust him enough to make decisions after he wins the Super Bowl? And then we know how much you have your hands in everything else, in the draft, etc., right? And then you just decide to take dead money and trade your supposed franchise quarterback. So who's more responsible? Who's the real reason? Starts with the owner. Starts with the owner and works its way down. This is why owners get crushed around cities. We've had owners before Jeffrey Lurie that got rolled up here. So, you know what I mean? This is all his doing. Mm-hmm. He could have avoided all this and let his football people handle it, that he wants to sit on a podium and praise. But he goes the opposite way, right? He goes to the way of, you know what? I don't want you getting this much credit. What? What, dude? What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? Because if I'm worried, first of all, so it would be like me owning a company like this, but not doing anything on the air.
Oh,
right?
Jesus. Yeah.
But it's somebody else doing everything on the air, right? And then being like, I don't like he's getting this much credit. I got to get rid of him. What? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's your best guy. What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you okay? You're like what's going on? You're that jealous? This is what's happening inside the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's happened since the Super Bowl. It didn't happen before the Super Bowl. It did not. It happened after. After he finally won, he couldn't deal with not getting all the credit. That's a billionaire owner who wants all the accolades for it and was not happy when his head coach was getting a book tour and loved. So there's spite involved in it. There's jealousy involved in it. And it's what equals failure. Those things equal failure. They really dictate, okay, if I told you all them things, they're going to fail. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say when it comes to this guy anymore. And I see all the people chiming in. We'll get to you in a few, but we'll get to you. Don't worry about that. But it's just, it's total. Wilson says disarray. It's you read it, and you're like, that's not true, right? Because you read it, and it's like reported this morning. Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie, GM Howie Roseman treated him, Doug Pederson, like a baby. Pederson was ridiculed and criticized for every decision, a source told The Athletic. If you won by 3, it wasn't enough. If you lost on a last-second field goal, you're the worst coach in history. Like, it doesn't sound real, but I absolutely believe it. Like, this is one of the things that you tell me, Tom, does this sound real to you? And usually this would be like a crumb of the day. Like, who's reporting this? But no, the guy got fired. The guy got fired. All he did is win. And you guys babied him and treated him like he didn't know what he was talking about and like an idiot and wore him out and then fired him after a first meeting with him, which is like, you're going to fire him, you're going to fire him right there. So what he didn't put he was tired of it. So you fired him the second time. Okay.
Or he fired them.
Yeah. Yeah. And because he's an entitled prick, Jeffrey Lurie, because he's an entitled fucking prick. All right. Excuse my language, but not excuse my language. All right. But the reasons is this is why he probably said, you know what? You're not resigning. I'm firing you. Like, I can totally see that exactly happening like that because he's a loser. He's a loser, and he turned himself into one. He wasn't before. He let the football people do football things. You are not a football person. You just watch games from a cushy booth. Shut up. Shut up or fire everybody and run the whole thing yourself then.
He did like the old ex-girlfriend syndrome thing. It's like, no, you don't break up with me. I break up with you. You know what I'm saying? It's like he wanted to have the last word in the entire endeavor. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And aside from obviously the power trips and all, you know, Jeffrey Lurie after the Packers game, us, by the way, going up to Lambeau, beating Aaron Rodgers, and he somehow has an issue with it, Jeffrey Lurie, because they ran the ball too much, right? Right. And then we go in a struggling season in 2019. We go to Buffalo. We win there, and Jeffrey Lurie still has an issue with it because, once again, they ran the ball too much, even though the winds were, like 34-mile-an-hour wind gusts that day, where they couldn't even throw the ball.
Yep,
and this guy, he tries to find the negatives out of everything, even though they're winning football games. So, aside from all that, and like I'm going to read like an excerpt in a second because it sounds like I'm like watching or reading like an episode of freaking 24, anyone who watched that show back in the day. Jeffrey Lurie, when you talk about the relationship between him and Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie is like the ultimate enabler because as this article illustrated, and then like to your point, Tom, in the past couple months, there's been a lot of instances where like, nah, this is just BS. This is just the, you know, the writers being and the journalists being bored and it's a slow news day. But we've heard whispers of all of this for how long, Tom? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it was mentioned in this article back. Remember in the Super Bowl season when the feud between Doug Pederson and Jim Schwartz early in the season?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it comes out today.
The cafeteria one?
Yes.
It was like there's too many alpha males in the cafeteria.
Well, but now it comes out today that there was a 3-hour meeting early in the season in 2017 between Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, and Jim Schwartz. So it's like, oh, was that why they weren't because they were talking to Jim about being a potential replacement? Because according to the article, if Doug got off to a really slow start, they were going to fire him in 2017. So it's like, oh my God, that's why they were having issues. So it's like we've heard little bits and pieces of this for so many years. And then it comes out now. And then you hear, like I talked about, the running the ball too much. You hear the draft talk. Now you're hearing that the scouting department is fractured and different departments can't even talk to each other. And they brought this guy in, Andrew Berry, to kind of be the mediator. But he's like, it's like he's trying to fix a relationship that's already too broken. It's like, oh my God, is this therapy talk? Like, it's just football, guys.
I mean, this is like Temptation Island. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a train wreck, essentially. You know, it's a reality TV show is what it's turned into. But the thing you said is when you talk about you got a scouting department divided, like what's going on here? Like when did this huge disconnect start? But even bigger than that, you've been trying to fire the guy since you hired him. And why is that? And there's one reason for that. There's one reason, right? And it's control. Control. They don't want to lose control, them two. And that's where I'm over it. That's where I'm tired of it. Like the guy won a Super Bowl and you can't give him a little bit of control. Like you have that much PTSD from Chip Kelly, right? You have that much PTSD in your head from the Chip Kelly era, who you hired, by the way. Okay. You drank his smoothies. You did all them things. Not me, honey. You can't even, every guy you hire, you're going to need a pacifier in and control. Like every guy you hire from here on out, this is the way it's going to be, can never do enough, right? Or when they do enough, you become Mr. Jealousy, right? Here we are. Oh, I can't deal with it. Oh, statue of him. Where's my statue? So this is where it's just too much for me. It's too much, right? It's become high school. It's become high school in the pros, like high school drama.
It's literally a building of a bunch of people that are getting paid way too much to worry about the jobs that aren't really theirs. It's like a bunch of guys are worried about credit and media and storylines. It's like, hey, guys, you know your job is to build a football team, right? Oh, no, we'll worry about that later. What? It's like, no wonder their draft sucks. And then you hear today, oh, well, the scouting department, they'll do all of their due diligence, like what football people were supposed to do. They'll come up with a list and all this stuff, and they'll come up with the reasons why they like the X name player in the draft and this guy in free agency. And they'll do all of this work for months, right? And then from Jeffrey Lurie and Howie and this third guy, forget his name. I'm sure somebody will put it in there. It's like the mediator between, it's like the guy under Howie Roseman that apparently, like, I've never heard this guy's name before, but apparently this guy is like awful at his job also. They then give the scouting department a list of people they want, but with no context. Hence why you see the Jalen Hurts instead of Jeremy Chin, why you see Arcega-Whiteside instead of DK Metcalf, Jalen Reagor instead of Justin Jefferson. So, like, obviously, I know you've seen this movie, Tom, but, like, you remember the scene from Moneyball when Brad Pitt, obviously, his character, he's meeting with the scouts, and the scouts all have a plan. They have, like, a bunch of their guys, right? Like, oh, I like this guy because he has a good face, and oh, this guy has, the sound coming off the bat. And then Brad Pitt's like, no. We're just throw all that out. That's what Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie are doing. They're like, oh, see this list? See this 2 month of work? Like all these paperwork of all the, oh, this is why this guy fits. Just throw that out. No, you're going to use this list with no context.
Yeah, well, listen, it's one thing for Billy Beane to go in and change it up and then, have success doing it in a small market, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's one thing there. It's another thing here because they have not been good at it. Nope. It's one thing, and the other thing is if you have been good at it, then fine. Then fine. Then nobody can say anything. But you threw away all their work for Jalen Hurts, and then you're not committed to start him? You're not committed for him to be your guy? Like, this is the definition of dysfunction. Everything. Right? Because us as fans, even if we aren't Team Hurts, we all were like, he's got to play this year. He's got to play this year. Got to play this year. I couldn't hear it enough. Got to play. Right? Well, they're telling you no. What? Wait, what happened? I haven't said what this many times to an organization in a long time. I mean, this is the definition of a 4 and 13er, right? Or 3 and 14, right?
Yeah.
Numbers, right?
Now it's not even 3 or 13. We got to add the other one in there now.
Yeah, I mean, you just add another loss. I mean, maybe it's the Jets, but
or tie, maybe another tie. You never know.
Yeah, we'll take it at this point. Everybody, he just wants too much control in the day-to-day football-wise, and he's done a disservice in his organization and his brand, okay? And, again, you said he tried firing him before 2017. Like, there was a legit chance that he could get fired in that season. Both Jim Schwartz and Doug Pederson, right, could have got fired. They go on to just nonstop win, which makes all these reports true. Like, you didn't win by enough, right? You didn't do this, you didn't do that, when all they did was win football games, okay? So they still didn't buy in to them guys being smart enough to do their job, and they continued that for the next X amount of years to the point where it became a boiling point where Jim Schwartz, listen, he went somewhere else now. He didn't retire. And Doug Pederson will land somewhere else too. Thank you, Eagle Slayer. Yeah, well, don't we all? I mean, we can start a GoFundMe, like for a fan purchase. I mean, that's what we could do. But,
can we be like A-Rod, or can we get A-Rod to like buy the Eagles? I don't know if that'll be an upgrade, but
no, I don't want A-Rod. I don't want A-Rod. No, because he's another one. I mean, you want to talk about if their statues getting built, you don't want them all of him. So no, I got enough. I got enough of that in here. I got enough of these prima donnas.
There'll be an A-Rod mural first day. He's here.
Right behind him in every presser.
Absolutely. I wanted to read this one part because Tom, you've been very, you've been saying this for months. Okay, you might have been saying this for a couple years, but you've been really preaching it. And a lot of people, I remember a couple months ago, disagreed with you. I just want to read this and tell me how this doesn't perfectly illustrate what we've all kind of feared and what you've been kind of saying, not only on this show, but everywhere you've been. And this is based off of Howie Roseman, right? The one excerpt of the article says, perhaps the most combustible way in which Roseman's image consciousness plays itself out in the building is his constant paranoia about information leaks. There are absolute horror stories across departments of Roseman scolding employees and threatening to search phones in reaction to the publication of inside information. On at least one occasion, according to a source, Roseman tasked an employee with combing through phone records in search of a leak's origin. But the understanding in the building is not that this particular Roseman anxiety is not principally over concern about the information getting out. Rather, he prefers to be the one to reveal the information when and where he sees fit. So he wants to be the leaker. So he's going around and he's so paranoid based off of his image. He's more worried about the leaking of information and who to tell than actually doing his job.
Oh, it's a dictatorship. You know, we leak what we want to leak. We leak what we think that is best for us as a football team, right? We're going to leak what we want. This is what it is. I've been yelling and screaming about this, and people are like, nah, you're crazy. You think these Carson Wentz reports were
I'm telling you, I feel like this is an episode of 24. Like Howie's the mole. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's inside the FBI. He's the mole.
They wanted him out. They wanted him to sort of ruin his image, per se.
To sell to the fan base. Like, this quarterback quit on you.
Everything else but the fact of the matter is either we made a mistake, all right, or we're blowing it all up. Right? So one or the other, and they would never admit to a mistake, right? Never admit to it. I never once heard Howie Roseman this entire year answer a question about Sidney Jones. Not one time. You hold on to everybody else too long. What are you talking about? You hang on to everybody else too long. Second round pick, you're like, oh, good, bye. So now he's probably going to do the opposite with JJ, who can't play. Oh, we're going to hold on to him too long. So this is where, listen, he's the leak. He's everything involved. It's his information that comes out. You know, he has his inside guys that he can leak stuff to, like McClain, etc., that will print anything related or from Howie Roseman's mouth. All right, and this is where you see the nonstop speculation. Well, you know what? Maybe Jalen Hurts isn't our guy. Do you think they really believe that indoors? They may or may not. But at the end of the day, they're trying to make you seem like they're going to take a quarterback so they can move out of it. This is what they want to do. They want to save a couple bucks, right? So how do they save a couple fucking bucks, people? They don't pick in the 6th spot because what do we know about these two? How can we save a couple, right? How can we save a couple? So how do we save a couple? We go from 6 to 12. We get outside the top 10. Okay? We acquire picks down the road. Okay. And they got an arsenal of stuff. But I'll say it again, and I'll say it a million times. We all trust these guys that make the right picks. And I say these guys, Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman. And then the other thing is, this is why I'm sick of mock drafts and all this shit. Because nobody I want are they probably going to freaking take. This is what they do to me. So, like, I'm going to give you all these freaking names. I give you 10 fucking names. And they're going to take the 11th guy that nobody heard of. Okay. This is crazy. This is literally crazy that fat dudes on couches can make better picks than these guys. It's become like this. This is how bad it's become. And it's all because he's making picks. In the first 2 rounds, he makes picks. We've talked about it. Heard Chuck's talk about it. Later on, why do they do better? Because they actually let their scouting department do their job when they don't allow them to do their jobs in the 1st or 2nd round. When it's like, you want to know why you haven't drafted stars? You drafted 0 stars because you got 2 nerds making picks. You got 2 unfootball guys making. Listen, I could go find freaking 20 dudes in that organization last year that I could pick and say, I want you to be part of a pick. I want you to be part of a pick. I want you to be part of a pick. And none of them would be Jeffrey Lurie, or even my general manager. Think about that. Neither one of them would I want even around it. Like, I don't even want you by the phone. Don't even call them. You know what? Don't even pick up the phone and call our first round pick last year. Don't even call. I want you nowhere near it. Let the football guys go to work, right? And build you a great football team. Okay? So if like Doug or Jim Schwartz or other guys, like Jim Schwartz wanted Kenneth Murray, better than Jalen Reagor. So, I mean, this is the definition of insanity. They continue to do this shit. When are you going to learn? No, we'll just fire everybody. Oh, okay. Or one guy will just walk away and the other guy gets fired. So any way you want to look at it, they're getting their way because they got control issues.
Yeah.
Right? They feel like if they're not putting their name on it and not even their name, but then if they're not making the pick and it's not, whatever, if it turns out to be great, then they'll stamp their name to it. And if it turns out not to be, they'll leak reports out that, well, Doug wanted Jalen Reagor. Doug wanted Hurts too because he really wanted to have a quarterback controversy this year. You fucking idiots! So you all believe that's real reports and that's not leaking right from the general manager's mouth? The circle is all the way back to what this whole little rant started on, right? You think it's come on.
I just and maybe it's not the correct phrase for me to say I feel bad for these two people I'm about to name because they're getting paid a lot of money, and all that stuff. But honestly, the biggest takeaway I have coming out of this, this article, I'm sure there'll be another 5 before the season even arrives, is that I kind of feel bad for Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni because if this is all true and we're projecting how this is going to go, it's all setting up for these two guys not to get the proper shot here. Nick Sirianni is going to be that puppet. This is the real reason why he was hired here. He's going to do only what they want him to do and not really have the full-fledged control that he may want. And I don't know. I don't know if Jalen Hurts is ever going to get a shot here because the more and more I get close to it, I don't know who the hell's playing quarterback. I don't know. That's my fear. And listen, Nick Sirianni might stink. Jalen Hurts might stink. But to Tom's point, what we keep saying over and over again, I want to find out. If I know nothing else at the end of whatever the hell we're going to call this coming season, right? I want to at least know who Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are.
We're not going to.
And that's the worst feeling I could have because that's my expectation.
You'll know who Jalen is, right? Because he's going to play. Like, I don't know how they can't pull this off. So he's going to play, right? But the Sirianni, you're never going to know who he is because he's going to be controlled the whole time. I mean, we just read all that off.
Yeah. Nick Sirianni, again, he was brought in here. He hired nowhere else, and he was brought in here because he's the exact opposite of what Chip Kelly was, and he fits the same mold that Doug Pederson was when he was here in 2016. A guy who's just happy to be there.
Yeah. And this is right, too. Philly Bullies should never took Hurts in the second. They didn't believe he was going to eventually take over for Wentz. No, I mean, it's the whole point. And then you trade the one guy, and then you don't believe in the other guy. Okay. I mean, listen, I got other sports to watch. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need you in your 3 wins. Okay, I mean, I'm a diehard, but I don't need your crap. I'm too smart for this at 38 now. Like, I'm too smart for this. Like, you're not going to do what you did to me in my early 20s. Like if you could pull the the wool over my eyes, right? You're not going to do it now. You're just not. And for anybody that's in this game that still believes in Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, I need you to check your pulse to see if you're still breathing. I want to check in on you. You good? You all right? You need anything? Maybe some water, some electrolytes, right? Because I think you're coding on me. I think you're coding. Anybody that would believe that they'd like, you know what? I really trust these two moving forward. Like we did a poll on that. Like you trust Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman over the next 5 years. People are like, agree. What? You guys, Jalen Hurts will not be here come week 1. I disagree, guys. I'll disagree with that all day.
I mean, he'll be here. He's not getting traded. I mean, he's going to be here.
Well, I don't know how he's not the starter then because they're not going to bring in Flacco and pay Flacco $3.5 million and then go draft his replacement in the first round. And you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make sense. And you have 3 quarterbacks. Like, I mean, it won't be the first time things don't make sense.
Nothing will surprise me. But...
No, if he's here, he's starting. If he's not here, then obviously somebody else is starting. Like, there's no way that they can make that mistake again. There's no way, Ryan, that they can make the mistake of having that game again. They can. No, they can't do it again. The 2 young guys too. No. So I mean, I think he's here. I don't think he's getting traded. Honestly, I think it's his job to lose.
Mm-hmm.
They brought Flacco in to make him work at least, because at least Joe's a pro. So
yeah, and then they're gonna revisit the quarterback situation this time next year. In my opinion,
not the guy.
Yep.
Listen, he won't.
Or I mean, we can see this to where he's good enough to get him 8-9 wins, but he doesn't win in the playoffs, or he doesn't get him in the playoffs, and Howie's like, oh, I'm not good with that. You know what I'm saying? Like I could see a scenario where he actually shows some good things, and a good portion of the fan base is actually sold on the guy, and then the organization's like, oh no, because again, illustrated not only what we've talked about before, but in this article, Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie don't have the self-control to say, hey, we don't need to make a splash move. That's why we talk about all the time. They're pressured into making the splash move in the first handful of rounds because they want the credit. They want the news. Instead of just saying, hey, it doesn't need to be the splash move. It needs to be the smart move.
Well, they don't even make splash moves. They draft guys you don't even know. So I mean, they
well, I guess where the splash thing comes from is taking a quarterback in the second round, trading up to get Dillard, because even though apparently everyone said you didn't even need to trade up to get him. You know what I'm saying? Like things like that.
They reach.
Yes.
They reach because they think they're smarter. I think there's a way that he wouldn't be the first quarterback that nobody believed in to make you believe in him. There's always a side to that it could happen. But I agree to a point with what you said. Like, if he has flashes and they win 8-9, maybe he's not here. But I think because of the money side of it and what you could put around him, right? That if he plays well, right? If he plays well business wise, they roll him out again for sure.
But you and I are talking about a semi-smart organization doing that.
No, I'm just talking about the money. I'm talking strictly the money. You're paying a second round pick and not a top five pick in the draft.
Fair.
Money's big time different there for the quarterback position. And now you have 3 firsters. And right, they can still try to make the splash move outside of the quarterback with 3 first round picks.
Hell yeah.
You want to get up to number 2 because there's a guy there you want. You can make a splash if it's a DN. You can make a splash if it's who. You know what I mean? So, but I agree with you. They like making the quarterback move, but they don't have the right this year to do it. And we'll see if they do next year. It's all going to depend on how he plays. Northwest, thank you. Hey, just joined. Who do you guys think Howie will pick in the first and second round versus what you guys are hoping we draft? Oh my God, I don't.
Well, we're going to get into the top 15 in a few minutes, but just to answer your question, which we appreciate, Northwest. I personally think he's going to go a semblance of cornerback, wide receiver in the first 2 rounds. I could see J.C. Horn, then the LSU kid that's not Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase if he's there. I know they're a Tony guy, even though he's little, and I don't want another little guy. But I would say cornerback, wide receiver is probably what they're going to do in that order. I think what Tom and I would do is probably either go defense, or, like cornerback, linebacker, or something along those lines. I don't think we're really looking at receiver in the second, Tom, at least you and I.
Yeah, I'm not really looking for a receiver, period, unless like Smith falls in my lap.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, what do I do? I mean, it's different because I don't know what's going to be there at 12, and this little mock will sort of tell us around like who's going to be available at 12. But I had I knew more who was going to be available at 6, and I think we all did. On what's definitely going to be there. Now, I don't know. I mean, it depends how things fall. I expect quarterbacks to fly off the shelves, but what happens if they don't? Somebody's going to reach in the first round, somebody or early on. So we'll see how it all plays out. But I don't know. I mean, they would go like their MO would be a guy that's somewhere around the 20 to 28 range, right, or a late first round grade they would take a 12. That's the definition of Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie. So you just find somebody in all your mock drafts that you look at, just look from 20 to 32, you're going to find your guy somewhere around there.
So we're going to get Trayvon Moehrig, or whatever how you pronounce his name. I actually like him. No, I'm not going to say him because I like him.
TCU? The safety?
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's going to be him. TCU. Yeah, of course.
I've watched him. I mean, he's whatever.
Yeah, safety TCU. Yeah,
I can't buy into that program. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, now we're putting a bunch of softies together. Like it's like Mr. Softy in the summertime.
Yep. Terrace Marshall. That's the name I was thinking of. The LSU guy, but I don't know if he's going to be.
Yeah, I don't want Marshall.
Pop. I would be absolutely shocked if we took a linebacker at 12.
Yeah, listen. I'll be laughing, but I would love it. They won't do it, but I'd be dying. Like, who made this pick?
Yeah. Did they lock Howie out of the building, for God's sakes? Quiddy Pay, I could see. Yeah, that's a reach kind of there. And even though I like him, but I don't know if I'd be thrilled about it at 12. Tony, you want to jump in to the top 15?
Yeah, are we giving it ourselves, or are we mocking it? Are we mocking it ourselves, or?
Yeah, I was going to say we would each do how we think the first 15 picks are going to shake out.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? And you can add a little flavor of like, okay, this is a smart move. Like, none of the picks we should be saying we should be like hating on. You know what I mean? Like, everything should be able to make sense type thing. And we'll see how different you and I are. And the fam can obviously chime in on it if you want.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. So we will
so I didn't miss anything here.
Okay. So the first one, I don't think it needs much.
No, it's Trevor.
Yeah, it's Mr. Lawrence. Very simple. Number 2, they taking anybody but Zach Wilson, the Jets?
I don't have them taking anybody but Zach Wilson. So
okay. So I think you and I would agree that the draft really starts at 3 based off of what the 49ers do. What do you have the 49ers doing at 3, Tom?
You know what? Let me get cute. Everybody has them either like one guy or another guy there. Let me go with them taking Lance there.
Listen, I love that. I love that pick.
Everybody has them taking him there, so I'll do it. Just to really mess up this board, get it cute here. Because I don't think they love Fields. At least they've indicated they don't love Fields. I think they like Jones a lot, but can they take him there? Is 3 too early, right? And then who's like the elephant in the room? It's Trey Lance, because a lot of people say he has huge upside. I don't know. I mean,
he's like the Jordan Love of this draft. He has high upside, but he's going to need a couple years to groom.
But they might feel like that. They might feel like, you know what? Because of his upside, we can't realistically trade up. Like, they traded up to 3 to take Mac Jones. Like they didn't have to. They didn't have to. So,
Shanahan did say that Mac Jones is going to be Kirk Cousins, but better.
Maybe it is. I think Jacob, I agree a little bit. I think it's Fields or Lance. I'm going to go Lance. So that's who I got the Niners taking.
Because I want to watch the world burn, I'm going 49ers draft Mac Jones. It doesn't like I wouldn't do this, but I'm going to buy into it. I mean, Adam Schefter said on ESPN the other day, he's willing to stake his entire reputation that it's Mac Jones. Like he said, like you can put it in like hard ink. It's Mac Jones.
Oh, I mean, listen, ink it up. I mean, I wouldn't be going around telling somebody I'm taking at 3 when I got somebody at 2 that's looking for a quarterback as well. So take it for what it is. All right, so you'll go Jones, you'll go Mac Jones. I'll go Lance just to be cute. All right, so we got 4 now, right?
Yeah.
Well, this is where it gets interesting because this is the Atlanta Falcons, right?
Well, I have a trade. I don't have you can have them trade out if you want, obviously. I have the Broncos picking here. I have the Broncos as soon as the 49ers take Mac Jones, alarms go off up in Denver and they trade up with the Falcons to get their guy Justin Fields.
All right. 4, I am going to go. I'm going to go Kyle Pitts.
Falcons for the Falcons?
I think Atlanta stays and takes Pitts.
Okay. So you have him kind of win now, trying to capitalize, give Matt Ryan everything possible, and kind of rework the defense in the later picks?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I don't know who defensively they would, outside a corner that they would want to go there for, but I think they can't run from what their offense could be. So I could see them going that way.
Okay. Then 5, Cincinnati. This is like the most underrated pick as far as like how it could affect the draft.
Well, I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. This is Soul here, all right, and Eagles fans are going to be up in arms because Jamar Chase is still there at 6. Okay, I'll tell you how this works. Tell you how this game works. You can smell it. You can smell them taking Soul and Chase still being there at 6.
See, I'm going to get cute because Mr. Burrow has reportedly been begging the front office in Cincinnati to go get his guy. I'm going Jamar Chase. And then I could see them drafting. There's a couple linemen later in the first round that I could see them getting. Maybe drafting, trading up to get them. But I think they're looking ultimate upside. And that would be very unlike Cincinnati because Cincinnati's a very conservative organization. Like, oh, just take the lineman and get the hell out of there. I think because Burrow's so up in arms about getting his guy, justifiably so. I mean, he was with LSU. I see them taking Jamar at 5.
Yeah, I just think I think football wise, they got to take Soul.
I hear you.
So
Soul would be a great pick there.
I just don't think he falls past. Listen, he is not falling past them. So it's either he's going to Atlanta at 4 and they're not taking Pitts, which I talked about before. Like maybe they go Soul at 4, even though I haven't taken Pitts at 4. But he's definitely not getting outside the top 5. I mean, there's no way left tackle, the best left tackle in the draft, is dropping outside the top 5 over wideouts, etc. That's not just how the NFL works. I'd be fucking shocked. Now, listen, welcome. Welcome. I just didn't hear that he's like that yelling and screaming about it. Like I have not heard that. I mean, listen, these reports get leaked all the time. They might want everybody in the country to think they're taking Jamar Chase. And again, they take Soul because you're right. Mm-hmm. They can do a ton of things. Or they stay at 5 and somebody wants Chase. Everybody thinks they're taking them. Boom. Somebody trades up, gives them an offer they can't refuse. They go back 2 or 3 spots and they still get Soul. So you know what I mean? So or they take Chase. I thought that it would be, that them in Miami, who's coming up next, that they could both go that direction.
Oh, okay.
Like, they could both go. Devontae Smith, you would think, okay, with Tua, or because Miami's next, right?
Yeah, and you know what's crazy too, Tom? And this one,
Soul does not drop outside 6. All right, let me rephrase, because there's no way that 3 teams that could use a lineman of his stature, all 3 are passing for skill position players. Oh, that'd be crazy. So, I'll go Soul to them since you're going Chase. I'll go Soul.
Okay. And the best part about this, Tom, other than the first 2 picks, every pick you and I have made have been the polar opposite, which is awesome. You know what I'm saying? To where there's going to be a point where all of your guys are off the board and all those guys that you took are still on my board. So we're going to have 2 completely different mock drafts here, which is good.
This is something I could see happening too.
It is a need. It is a need. Yes.
Makes sense.
Even though I know they just took, did they just sign Boye? Or is that another team in the South? I know a South team took
him. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's a Band-Aid. Whoever took him. Okay, Dolphins, Tom, at 6.
Okay, so this is where I think it gets interesting.
Okay.
Now, Soul, that's me having Soul off the board, okay? Mm-hmm. I think the Dolphins...
Say it.
Now the Dolphins take Jamar Chase.
Oh my damn! So you would have Fuller, Parker, Chase.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, if Tua can't win with that, just make him a backup quarterback for God's sakes.
Yeah, because everybody else has them two going like connected with their old quarterbacks. I actually got it going in some weird ways here, where like he falls to 6. Eagles fans are up in arms. Miami takes him at 6. It's just seeing it happening.
Yep.
You know me right? It makes too much sense.
It does. It's the ultimate FU to Howie Roseman.
Imagine if they went Waddle instead.
Well, stay tuned. Stay tuned. I love that pick, Jamar Chase, at 6. But since this guy's still on the board for me, and I know they have this guy that people like, I have the Dolphins taking Kyle Pitts here.
Okay.
So you're going to have Parker, Fuller, Pitts, and Gesicki.
Yeah, you have them dropping. I have them going 4. So that's there on R2. All
right. Then you go to Don's Detroit Lions at 7.
Well, I saw a guy.
I love this. This is so much fun.
I saw a guy here. I got a quarterback still there.
You have a couple. You have a couple quarterbacks still here. You have Mr. Bama, and you have Fields. He's giving the Howie look, ladies and gentlemen.
Waddle.
Bingo. That's what I have.
So I guess I got 2 quarterbacks still. Oh, God, this is bad for 12. This is bad for fucking 12.
Yep.
Oh.
You and I are on the same wavelength, though, Tom. So John Dorsey, who was in the building for Tyreek Hill, this guy apparently mirrors Tyreek Hill, which we heard with Jalen Reagor, by the way.
Thank you for that, John.
Campbell, the new head coach, keeps talking about ultimate toughness, speed, obviously taking the top off. To me, this is Waddle. Like, I am so confident it's Waddle here because they're not smart enough to take the Heisman. No. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so typical they take the Heisman's teammate.
No, he falls. He's fallen for me.
So that's the first one since the number 2 pick that we both have the same thing.
It is what people do. Like, this is my cute pick. Like, we're gonna outthink everybody. We're gonna go Waddle.
Absolutely. And the fam at home, they all agree too. Okay, 8 Panthers.
Okay.
So for a while we thought this was a quarterback, but now that Darnold's in the building, could that change it?
Now this is where I go different. Now Justin Fields off the board.
Oh, you take him there?
They do.
Okay.
Cam Darnold ain't dictating their decision making if Fields or Jones are still on the board there. If Fields on the board, they have to. I mean, they almost have to. Like, you can't let them go again.
For the 8th pick, I have the Carolina Panthers and Matt Rule running, maybe sprinting to the draft board and taking Penei Sewell, offensive tackle, to give Darnold the left tackle he never had in New York.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense. You have him. You have him still there.
Yeah.
There's no. I'll say it again. There's no way, shape, or form I could see how Sewell sits and gets past 6. I think I just don't know how. I mean, listen, you might be 100% right. The NFL would change dramatically on how they go about their business.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a guy that, when you watch him, it's hard not to see his athleticism in today's NFL and say, oh, wow, okay, that's a bookend left tackle for 12 years.
I agree with you. Listen, if we were the GM, Sewell would have been gone 4 picks ago, to your point. But like we talked about, it only takes a couple GMs to get cute and be the smartest guy in the room to go flash. Then we go to the 9th pick. So you have Denver here. I have the Falcons here after they traded back.
Hold on a second. Bobby, you're 100% spot on. 103 people watching, 31 likes. It's free. You all know that, right? Pound that like, pound that subscribe. Bobby's right. Let's go. Pound the like, pound subscribe. Come on. Subscribe to our YouTube. You're right there. It's easy. Easy. Easy money. All right, so where are we at? Where are we at?
We are at the 9th pick. You have the Broncos here. I have the Falcons here after trading back.
Okay, so I think the Broncos go Parsons here.
Love that. Love that. It's a great pick.
I mean, Jones is there, but I don't think they go Jones because I think they want to. I think they think he can play. What's his face? Freaking Lock. Like they think he can play. So they're going to give him another year to see if he can play. But they're like a linebacker. They love linebackers there. They like middle. They value that position, unlike other organizations that we know. So I think Parsons goes to the Denver Broncos.
It's so funny too because I think if the Broncos stayed at 9 and it played out kind of the way we just had it, to where Mac Jones is the only guy left, quarterback wise, like as far as the upper echelon, and they have to decide between Drew Lock and Mac Jones, I think that's a lose-lose scenario. And I'm not saying like Mac Jones is going to suck there, but I like that. That just doesn't scream a top 10 pick. Like that doesn't move the needle for me. Like, oh, they got Mac Jones, they're a playoff contender now.
No, they go this direction. They go Parsons. They go. I mean, Smith is there. They're not going to go wide receiver again.
No.
Parsons makes sense there. It just does. Just does. I don't know. Really, because they have holes there in the middle linebacker, and they value it. You know what I mean?
So I have a scenario where if the Falcons do this, and the kid that they draft, the guy that they draft ends up being able to play, a couple years from now, you can look back on the Falcons being one of the winners and one of the smartest teams coming out of this draft. I have the Falcons, after they traded back from 4 to 9, them taking the guy they could have taken all along, and that's Trey Lance.
Oh, you talked about something that I mentioned them doing at 4 before. Taking quarterback there, and people are like, I don't know. Well,
So now they do it at 9 with with the extra picks that they got in the trade back, and now they're looking at a guy who, hey, we don't know how, because the Arthur Smith and the owner keeps talking about, we don't know how the next time we're going to be in the top 10. We don't plan on it. We got to look at succession plan while also looking at now. I'm going Trey Lance here.
Makes sense.
Pop? You don't think Trey Lance gets there? I mean, he probably won't get there, but if he's there, that would be a smart pick by them. Okay, then we get to the Cowboys at 10. We'll all be on the edge of our seats on draft night when this is going on.
Well, okay. Do I go with what I believe they'll do or what I want them to do?
Is there a way you can mix the two?
I mean, I guess I sort of can. Let me take that. You know what? Let me see. Let's go a little reach. Let's go a little reach around. They take Caleb Farley here.
I will be so happy if they do that.
Or Horn. Like Horn or Farley, because, I mean, regardless. So they're taking one of them, too. I don't think they take Surtain. They just took Diggs last year. I don't know if they go back to the same school again. That's my thing, right? So I'll go Horn or whatever, because I don't have the either. In her 15, I might not have. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. I'll give the other team one of them. So Farley or Horn.
Okay. To play devil's advocate with you, I am going Surtain here. Once again, it's the ultimate Eagles screw you thing, because we traded beyond the Cowboys when we could have just taken Surtain at 6.
Well, hold on. Let me stop you, because I told you, I think it could be. I think you could see 2 corners in a row here with the Giants right up next. So you could very well see that. Like, I know they signed Bradbury, but they could use another corner. Like, they really put an emphasis on their defense.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's a lot of ways they could go. I mean, they could go Devontae Smith. They could go the other lineman, maybe Slater. I don't know what position he plays. I don't know if he's a
he could play tackle and he could play guard. He can play both.
That's a possibility. But I can see back-to-back corners, too. Like, I can see them take Surtain if he doesn't go at 10.
Do you see, real quick with the Cowboys, could you see them going offensive lineman here, Tom? Because of how many moving parts Dallas has had there. And also, I believe Tyron Smith hasn't played a full season in a while.
They go Slater. I can see Slater here to them too.
And the hot name over the last handful of days to week is that Kwity Paye, defensive lineman from Michigan, could go here also.
Go ahead, take him, please.
Yeah. So I think anybody but Surtain here, we would be happy. Correct?
Yeah, it's getting our spot, Ryan. And if you haven't noticed something before you give your Giants,
there's a couple. Both of your guys are still here.
I'm doing it for a reason. I think one of the two is still going to be there anyway. And you know what I mean? I'm just not letting Surtain or Smith go right now. I'm making them wait. I think that one reach is here. Okay, it's either going to be the Cowboys reaching at 10 or the Giants reaching at 11. One of them. One could go Slater and one could go Horn. One could go Horn or Farley and one could go Slater.
Fair
you have a better
enough.
chance of the Cowboys reaching, going, in my opinion, a reach, which would be Horn or Farley at 10, is a reach to me because that would be Surtain, right? It's common sense. I could see them reaching there, and I can see the Giants following suit with a little bit of a reach party, and hopefully they do. So I'll stick with Farley to the Cowboys.
I'll say this for the Giants too. I don't see them taking a cornerback because now they have Bradbury and Adoree Jackson.
I forgot they signed Adoree. Sorry. Okay, so take them off the board then. Then I'm going to give them Slater then.
Same. I'm going Rashawn Slater. He can play guard. He can play offensive tackle. And again, I feel like we kind of forget how bad their offensive line has been as of late because it made a slight improvement over the last year. But their offensive line is not nearly as good as it needs to be. So I'm going to go Slater, who people could argue. I mean, some people are arguing he's better than Sewell. I don't agree with that at all. But they can see, hey, this is a guy who slid to us and it's a need. So I have them just taking Rashawn Slater, who can play guard or tackle for them. So then we get to 12.
Yeah, real quick to the comments. Gongo says Farley has the highest potential. I don't know. You know, you said, but it's risky because of the back. I mean, the back's important. I think Surtain has the highest potential, and I'm going to stand on that island. I don't want K.O. Farley, and I'll take J.C. Horn, but I don't want either one of them. But
especially when Surtain and Smith are on the board. Like, if both of them were gone, okay, then you can wrap your head around maybe Horn or Farley. But if in your scenario they're both available, if they took Farley or Horn over Surtain or Smith, we would be upset.
Yeah, now you put the gun to my head.
But listen, isn't this a good scenario for you, Tom, and for us?
No,
if they're deciding between these two,
it is great. They still have Surtain and Devontae Smith still on the board. I believe one may still be there. I'm praying one will still be there.
I agree with you. I still have I have Surtain gone, but I still have Smith here. Smith is still available in both of ours.
Yeah, that would hurt guys if they double dip this like that. It really would. But I see both of these guys dropping for some reason. I don't think either or should drop. I don't know. I've had my. I mean, I said what I said about Devontae Smith. That I believe he's a gold jacket waiting to happen. I've also been on the hill saying that Patrick Surtain's the best corner in this draft and will be for the next 10 years. Well, they love offense. I don't think there's any shot that they're taking a corner there if Smith's still there too, right? If I'm thinking like they think, okay, for a minute, then I think they take Smith. Right, I think that's what they do. I'm not telling you what I would do, right? I'm not getting paid enough to tell you which one of them, right? But that's what they do. So if Smith's still there and Surtain's still there, I believe they go Smith. They love offense. That's what they love. They love it. So I think that's the direction they would go. Me, you can't go wrong. Honestly, you can't. That's like a cop out. You cannot. These are my two highest graded players in this draft. Like, I mean, outside of Trevor Lawrence, and you want to throw Sewell in there too, because I love Sewell, and he's in my top 5. These two guys are it, man. And if one of these two guys is there at 12, it's a no-brainer, and you can't go wrong with either or. So I'm gonna go. What they do is they would take Devontae Smith.
So I have it on draft night where in my scenario, we're going to be sitting there waiting for the 12th pick to happen, and there's going to be two guys on their board in the Eagles' war room, so to speak. And we're going to be talking about whether they would take Devontae Smith or J.C. Horn. I think those are going to be the two final names on their board and the two highest names. I'm extremely confident they're going to go Horn here over Smith because, A, this would be the outrage. We would take what we would say is the second rated cornerback on our board ahead of the Heisman Trophy winner. And I could see them saying, oh, well, then we can address wide receiver later. But it's my mock, and there is no mock that I'm ever going to make that I have J.C. friggin' Horn going over the Heisman Trophy winner. So I have them taking Devontae Smith. Am I banking on it? Am I betting the house that they actually do that?
I would, Ryan. I'm telling you, if Horn and Smith are there, they take Smith. Like they just they pride themselves offensively too much. Like that's just what. Like I just told you not what I would take. What I would take is I probably take Surtain because I've been preaching about the lockdown corner for how long, right? Like and how we shouldn't take a wide receiver, but like I know what they do. But you can't go wrong with Devontae Smith, so I won't be mad at that. But if it came to J.C. Horn and Devontae Smith, like they're idiots, right? But they value this. They value offense way more than they value defense, and they would take Smith there. And people tell me like they would be a good pick by them. Like it would be smart if they took Smith there because people tell me 163 pounds. Like stop with the size. He'll be fine. All right, but he's got bigger upside than J.C. Horn does. You know, I mean, he might even have bigger upside than Surtain does.
He's 184, by the way. As of 3 weeks ago, he's 184. So,
right. So you know, okay. So Jesse's saying he's gained weight. You know,
I just think Tom, if you went Smith there, you could eat because I know what everyone's saying. Oh, what about cornerback? What about cornerback? Well, you can trade back in to assure yourself you're getting Asante Samuel. There's other cornerbacks later, guys. Like as much as I really believe, and we've been harping on this, that I think we should go defense first. Okay, like I think defense should be the theme of this draft. If you have the capability to get a Heisman Trophy winner and someone who has the star potential of Devontae Smith, who could also help the quarterback who you're trying to A, sell yourself on, and B, you know who else this helps, Tom? Jalen Reagor. If you have Devontae Smith on this team, it helps Jalen Reagor. Oh,
it absolutely does. Right. Don't like they could take Surtain. They could take Horn, I guess. But Devontae Smith's exactly like what they would take. And it'd be okay. It'd be the first time they were actually right. Mm-hmm. Like I would feel great leaving the draft. If they left this draft with Smith, let's say Smith, Surtain, or Horn, like say that them two aren't there, but Horn's there, I'd be good.
I'm okay.
You just can't take J.C. Horn over Patrick Surtain. You just can't take J.C. Horn over Devontae Smith, right? That's where I got to draw the line. I mean, Horn might be my second-ranked corner, but it is a long way from Patrick Surtain to J.C. Horn, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it's a long way. It's not as far. It's long, but it's a lot shorter than Surtain to Caleb Farley. I mean, it is a lot shorter.
Oh,
and the back is a big part of this. Big part of this. Mm-hmm. We're just gonna pass the back off. Like, oh well, if so that if he never is good enough, we can always point back to the back as a cop out. Nope.
And for everyone saying, oh well, guys, Horn fits better in our scheme. He fits. First off, I don't necessarily agree with that because I think Patrick Surtain, because of what he brings today, not only what he's going to bring to you, 5 years from now when he's a seasoned vet in the league. He's the best day one ready-made cornerback in this draft. To me, I'm not saying 5 years, 10 years from now he's going to be the best out of this class, but day one, he's not.
You don't got to say it. I've already said it. 10 years from now, he's considered the best one, and everybody else looks like, oh. I'm telling you, he's just so fundamentally sound.
He's the most surefire cornerback in this draft, in my opinion.
Right, because everybody wants to look at the stupid fucking tape and tell me about wow factors.
Yeah, the aggressiveness. But also, you know what hurts and all of these scouts are talking about?
Oh, sorry. He plays man at Bama. What are we talking about? Mm-hmm. They play a ton of man at Bama. Come on, guys. I would rather him be playing man in zone.
And everything that I've read from all of these scouts, they're telling me, hey, the J.C. Horn thing, they're worried about because of how grabby he is, that he's like a PI waiting to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not.
J.C. Horn's even considered a top 12 pick. Like, that's a joke to me. Caleb Farley and J.C. Horn being top 12 picks in this draft is a fucking flat out disgrace. Like, the amount of talent that's still even on our boards here that I have on the boards is still better than them. This is what I'm talking about. J.C. Horn and Caleb Farley, with all due respect, are 20 to 32ers. They're not top 12ers. Patrick Surtain was top 12 this whole time, and now all of a sudden everybody wants to outthink themselves. This is what happens. So now everybody's outthinking themselves. I'm the smartest guy in the room. No, I'm the smartest guy in the room. I found the diamond in the rough, right? What? What are you guys doing, dude? How did these guys jump from late first-round picks to top 12 overall? They're anywhere in the top 12. And I know I had K.O. Farah going to the Cowboys just because this is how it goes. But, like, in what way, shape, or form does that happen? Right? I don't understand.
And I don't think people were taking it like we're saying that J.C. Horn can't play. No, it's that we prefer the guy who played at Alabama a little bit more.
It's not even the school that matters to me. It's not even the school. It's the fact that he's a late first-round pick. He's 20 to 32. This is where he is. You might make a case he's 18. 12 is too high. 12 is too high for Horn or Farley. I don't know what to tell people. It's not too high for Surtain or fucking Smith. What are we doing?
And Joe H., I meant to bring this up earlier. He says Dallas is taking Surtain and Giants are taking Devontae Smith.
Good.
I'm not ruling out that the Giants take Devontae Smith because who knows? But to me, them taking a receiver at 11 makes zero sense to me because why did you sign Kenny Golladay? You have Sterling Shepard. You have Darius Slayton, who's really freaking good and torches us every time we see him. And then you have Kenny Golladay. Like that, why do you need – they do not need Devontae Smith.
But they would to give – I can see them to give every possible weapon around.
Oh, I agree. I agree with you.
But I agree with you, too. I mean, why? Yes, Surtain started as a freshman Scooby-Doo. You're right, brother. And this is the problem. And people want to just like people want to reach. And this is what I was saying to Ryan earlier before we even came on, that they would somehow take a guy that was ranked 20 to 32 at 12 over a guy that's ranked top 10 that falls in their lap at 12. That's the difference. I had the Lions taking Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, we both did. Jalen Waddle. Don, get fired up.
Okay, you can't stand me, Aaron? Then don't listen. Simple as that. Corners always get driven up the board in the NFL. That's the NFL. CJ Henderson isn't. Yeah, no, I mean, and the same thing with Horn. I get it. But they shouldn't, these guys, them two shouldn't be considered top 12 players in this draft. Worst case scenario at 12 that was left.
So we're saying what? So Horn would be gone, Smith would be gone, Surtain would be gone. So then we're talking Farley, we're talking Pay. To me, Don, you know what? If that's the case and those three guys are gone, I'm trading the hell out of there. I'm getting out. I'm trading back to like 16 to 20, and then I'm using some picks to trade. But I'm trying to like trade back to 16 and then trade up to pick like 27. You know what I'm saying? Like they might do that anyway, to where like you take somebody at 12 and then they trade up to like 20, 28, 27 or something. But that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to recoup that value a little bit. But no, if those three guys are not there, I'm not making a pick at 12. I'm not. That's just me.
No, I agree.
And people can say, "Oh, what about Parsons? Worst case scenario." I just don't envision them taking him. Like, yes, if it's me, I'm taking Parsons and going to bed.
Oh, I don't have him there. So.
Oh yeah, you have him gone. I still have him here. I just don't envision them taking him.
And I know what Rob's saying. You know, pass rush is more important than secondary. I get that. But these guys aren't like highly ranked pass rush guys, so you would want to trade back again and still be able to get those guys. So you know that's the best case scenario in that situation, is to say, okay, let me get myself out of here. Do we trade Miami 22 first round pick and the 2021 12th overall to move up to 4 for who?
I don't see Howie touching any of next year's picks. I think he's going to want to have that kind of in his arsenal. In the case where he's trying to trade for a veteran quarterback already in the league or possibly trade up next year. I think the only moves he's going to work with are the 11, 12 picks that we have this year. I think that's the only things he's trading. That and players. Like, I think he's going to use, some of the 11, 12 picks that we have this year and Zach Ertz. I think those are the assets.
Who? Jalen Phillips is a stud. I believe you. But
is that the kid who sat out or he retired? The defensive end, Tom?
Is that him? Yeah, I think it is.
The edge guy, I believe. Okay, so who do you have, Tom, now at 13? So the dust is settled. We will be in mid-panic mode while the Chargers are probably making this pick on draft night. But who do you have the Chargers taking here?
We had the Chargers up.
Yep, at 13. Yep.
I got 13 still there. Boom, gone.
This is really tough for me because they just lost Casey Hayward, I believe. He's no longer there. So they could go Horn here, but I'm going to go to solidify that offensive line to protect Herbert. I'm going Christian Darrisaw. And then we've got 14 Vikings. I think this is real easy. I have them taking Kwity Paye, defensive ends from Michigan. They need help on that defensive line. They need to get younger.
God, give them to me too. I can take them too.
And finally, 15 New England Patriots.
Max.
I was going to say, he's still there for you. I have them taking Micah Parsons, linebacker, Penn State.
Perfect. You got to give a fucking rat's ass after 12.
No, we're going to be I'm telling you, we'll be on draft night. We won't even be knowing those picks are happening. We'll be so wrapped up in what the Eagles had just did.
Hopefully, and hopefully in a good way. I mean, not saying that's going to fucking happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have no Phillies tonight, FYI.
Nope.
That's postponed because of weather. So we'll see when that doubleheader is going to happen. And we have Sixers at 7:30. Trying to hold on to the East. I don't know if that. Let me check real fast, guys. I don't know. I want to make sure. Okay, that game's already been postponed in Minnesota tonight. So the Nets will not play the Timberwolves. So that game's going to have to get made up.
I believe they're doing that tomorrow. That's what they're talking about, Tom. That they're gonna be playing tomorrow night in Minnesota. So
good, love it, back to back. Hit them with a back to back. Then they got to come to Philly.
We might not see. That means because I know Harden.
Sorry. I got to say this because I know people on social media, they don't listen. Not good on what happened in Minnesota. Good that the Brooklyn Nets had to play back-to-back games and come to Philly on the back-to-back. That's what I meant by good.
Isn't it so sad that you had it's so sad that you even needed to do that, Tom?
I know people.
Oh, I know. No, you're understand. Edelman retired?
Who?
Bobby Stevens says Edelman has retired.
Yeah, I think that's what they were thinking. They're saying.
Wow, not going to Brady, huh? I thought he was going home to Father Brady. Damn.
Maybe comes back.
What's a Scoob-Doo? Will y'all keep y'all boards on draft day? Yeah, I mean we'll all have our boards, absolutely. I know Rob said Porzingis is out tonight, so we won't have to face him, but Reddick is making his debut.
He'll go over. Well, it looked like Joel's still plus 400. Second MVP. So,
really?
Yeah. Oh, 410. Okay, thank you, Jonah. 410 tomorrow and 740. All right. Well, then fucking doubleheaders. So hard to win two, but go win two, baby. Let's go. Go win two. Let's go. Let's find a way to win two tomorrow. Come on, really get it. You can really freaking get a nice little cushion early on in the season by doing some damage inside your division. That's how you win divisions. That's how you win your division. You got to do damage inside your division. You got to beat up on teams inside your division. And you got two damn good teams. And you went 4-2 versus the Braves, right? You took 2 or 3 versus the Mets. Now can you take 3 or 4 versus the Mets? That's the big kicker.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big kicker. It's hard to do. And you got to sweep tomorrow almost. But it's hard to do.
Tom, I meant to ask you too. We won't see this until Wednesday, but how excited are you to see the big Sixers debut on Wednesday?
The big who debut? Sixers?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean debut?
Tolliver.
Oh.
That's when he's supposed to suit up.
Yeah, I mean, thanks. I don't know.
I was expecting a video from you, Tom. The Tolliver signing breakdown. I didn't get.
Yeah, can't he just do his 10-day just like right on the bench?
Oh yeah,
just do your 10-day thing right there, buddy. Just sit down.
Isn't it sad though that he's making his debut before George Hill?
Yeah. I don't know what the hell they're thinking. I can't even make up what they're thinking about with that. I don't even did they make the move and not know the injury timetable, or did they make the move and expect to get him back, pre playoffs with that in mind? Like I don't know what the hell they were thinking going into it. I just don't know.
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to panic about it because they keep saying, what I care about is George Hill in the playoffs, honestly. But here's the thing. To your point, they obviously knew that this would be a process. Sorry to use that word, but a process waiting for him to get healthy to finally see him on the court, right? It's not like we're waiting for Kevin Durant. George Hill is not going he's going to make an impact, but he's not going to be this astronomical impact for the Sixers. So he's going to be a really good piece to come off the bench. He's going to add some things, but he's not going to change the landscape of this team, in my opinion. So I understand, they didn't give up. They gave up a handful of stuff. They didn't give up anything crazy value, right? But to me, it's just strange. Jesus, if they traded this, all of this, and they made the trade just for a playoff guy, why didn't they do something else? You know what I mean? It's just weird. We're not waiting for Zach LaVine or, like I said, Kevin Durant to come back here. George Hill's going to be a nice piece off the bench. But I don't know if the wait for him is going to end up being worth it. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it too much.
The wait's worth it if he plays.
Yeah.
Because it really helps out your second unit. And when Doc's been well known for liking to run 9-10 guys in the playoffs, you need a guy like him.
Mm-hmm.
Doc's always been known for playing his bench in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's always been known for that. So, I mean, I know they talked about running 8, but they probably run 9. They probably run 9 guys. You might even see 10 sometimes.
Yeah, it's all about matchups. It's all about matchups there.
Are we waiting for Kevin Durant? No. Are we waiting for a double-digit scorer that can run our second unit? Yeah. Are we able to run then shake off guard? Yeah. I mean, so I think I think it not saying you're saying it's nothing, but I think it's a little bit bigger of an impact than you're making it out, but not as big as obviously waiting for a Durant, right? It's in the middle of okay, because of what it does to your second unit. Yeah, you're better. You're absolutely better. Now, are you the difference of fucking going to Eastern Conference Finals or Finals? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if you're good enough to get there, then maybe this helps get you over it. I don't know.
Robert California says, you guys think Hill starts over Curry? I don't believe so. I don't think they're going to touch, especially this late in the proceedings. I don't see them touching the starting 5. You could argue that in certain aspects, Hill might be finishing games over Seth Curry, but I don't think they touch the starting rotation. No.
Yeah, I agree, Ray. I agree with what you just said. Yep.
It's all about a feeling out process. You know what I mean? If Seth Curry is struggling, okay, then you put George Hill in there. That's okay.
Yeah, Pop. He's been weird with that. He's been a 9-10 runner, which he gets criticism for too. So I think why George Hill's more significant is because he can actually feel comfortable going to a bench of Dwight, George Hill, let's say Shake, Furkan, and maybe somebody else, and giving guys more breathers in the playoffs. You could see him doing that, or keeping Ben in or whatever. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different ways, but I could see him and even Matisse. Sorry, I could see them going smaller too with George Hill, Shake, Furk, Matisse, and Dwight. They could run them kind of matchups at you too. So I think all these guys are going to get run because they all sort of have a purpose to what's made us a really good basketball team this year.
Well, and I think, and this might sound, overly simplistic, but I think it's the right kind of direction you should have. I think Doc Rivers is going to have the kind of game plan where heading into the playoffs, like we saw this with Brett Brown too many times, where he would go into a season and he would have just these blanketed structures and he would never waver from them. Like, okay, you're going to have this rotation here. You're going to have this guy in here. And he would never really adjust it. And it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? He would never adjust based off of what's happening in the game or who's struggling and who's playing well. I think if Doc Rivers has a scenario, regardless if it's in the first round or if it's in the Eastern Conference Finals, if we get there, if he has 8, 9, maybe 10 guys playing well, then he's going to use all 10 guys. If only 8 guys are playing well, then he's never going to go to that 9th or 10th guy. You know what I'm saying? But if they're going to Furkan and Furkan's playing really well, or if they're going to Matisse and he's playing really well, then he's going to work them into the rotation. But with that same breath, if they're both struggling and Matisse is getting into foul trouble early and he's, a black hole on offense and Furk's not doing anything on offense and he never does anything on defense, then you're not going to see him as much. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know what you're saying. And listen, John, I agree with you here too. His defense is good. And remember something too, is that Oklahoma City team, when him and Horford were healthy, they were actually playing well.
Mm-hmm.
So, then he got hurt and I'm not saying the whole team went down, and then Alexander wasn't playing and then, it is what it is now. But I think he's definitely an upgrade to what we have. When you have a young point guard running the point when you're second unit, and Shake Milton, I think it's important. Timothy, I think Tyrese has played well. He has a knack to get to the bucket. It just takes time. He's a young kid, man. It's
what was kind of expected from a rookie who didn't have a full offseason. And he kind of had, I don't want to call his offense one-dimensional, but we talk about it. If he's not hitting that one kind of, going to the rack, that kind of jumper, he doesn't really have anything else right now. But he's shown flashes that could be built upon. You know what I'm saying? He got off to a really great start early in the season. They've kind of, eased him along, which is to be expected. And I think we're in a really good spot knowing next year he's going to be a part of this organization in some facet. And, he's going to have, I would imagine, a much bigger role next year than last year. And I'm not saying he's starting next year, but, he's going to be in that backup point guard type role and being able to run the team. Assuming he expands on his game, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. Ryan, in Lake King situation, you think Hill plays over Green? No, I think they both. I think you get them both playing because one's a point guard, one's not. Northwest, thanks, brother. What about Jalen Waddle at 12? If he's there and them guys aren't, sure. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It just depends on what you got there. And see, just to go back real quick, I don't care about any of that NFC East beats. I'm not being rude to you. I just don't. Me personally, some people get all that matters to them. How do you play on the football field? All that extra stuff's great. And if it translates, and it's awesome. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. So
we've had plenty of speedy guys in the secondary in the past, and I'm good. I'm looking for the full package right now. That's what I'm looking at. Yes, John, Toby and Danny are playing tonight. They aren't on the. Yeah, no, that was just. I know you can't have rest days in the NBA, but that was just a prototypical rest day.
Oh, that's built-in rest written all over that one.
Yeah.
And rightfully so for them two guys. They played every freaking game. So give them two a breather on the night. You should win easily.
Kevo, I know we talked about it a couple weeks ago. I unless something crazy happens where somebody they don't expect to be there past 8 is there, I don't see them moving up. I think they move from their second pick to the back end of the first round. I would bank on that being their move. Aside from them moving up from 12 to 9 or 12 to 8, for example.
Yeah, I mean, listen, anything's possible, I guess.
And yeah, and to your point, Tom, like I'm not going to be mad if they go up to 9 because that assures me, at least on paper, that I'm getting a better player. That makes me think, oh, okay, that's Surtain here or Smith here or whatever.
What's Embiid not doing? No, they're not. Neither is Embiid. What? Playing tonight?
I think he's talking about neither is Embiid. He's not on the injury report.
Oh, okay, not both. All three of them not being okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jonah, I like Nick Bolton. I like him. Linebacker.
Kevo, we talked about that right at the beginning of the show, so you can, as soon as we're done, or even right now on YouTube, you can just rewind back. We got into it. We broke it down.
Andrew says, I think the Eagles are going to take a pass rusher at 12 and surprise everyone.
Yeah.
Well, that would be Mr. Pay. I'm guessing either him or Russo. But Russo's like a back end of the first round type guy. But to your point, that goes back to your point, though, Tom. That's your 20 to 32 guy.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what they would do. Don Kenny, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it starts with a lot of 30-piece nuggets from here on out, which we mentioned on a show. I don't know what show we did that on, but not long ago when we talked about his chance to win MVP. I don't care about the MVP, but can he win it still? Yeah, I mean, I think he's second right now, Vegas-wise, to win it. So I do.
Do they need to finish number 1 seed for him to get it, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, they got to finish one right, and he's got to be 28 plus from every game he plays.
Yeah,
or at least that Oklahoma City game where he had 27. Like tonight's another one. Like he's got to come out and be him.
Especially against the Dallas Mavericks team that they don't play defense at all. At all. Jonah says, I can see Micah Parsons fall to us. Would you take him over Smith? No, I would take Smith.
I like Parsons, but I'm not taking him over Smith, no.
And I know a handful of people were asking us earlier, like, okay, if they traded back into the first round, who's some guys that you guys would want them to take? This is just me, but Greg Newsome, cornerback from Northwestern, I like. I would be happy if they took him, especially if they took Smith with the 12th pick.
Najee Harris for me is a guy that I would get back into the first round. I know a lot of people talk about Collins, the linebacker.
Yeah.
I like his name. I haven't watched him enough, so I got to go watch him a little bit. Just a highlight tape does enough for me. I don't need to. I can look and see what guys are actually doing, and if he's really like impactful or not. Even in highlights, most people just see a guy run past people and they're like, oh my God, he's so good. You know what I mean? Like now, like what defense are they doing? You can see that shit in highlight films too, guys. So it's just how you look at it. So if he's going on the sideline and making big time fucking plays, and I'm watching him, pick balls off that are great plays, and he can play. So
Azane Samuel Jr. is another one to the people asking the chat. Yeah. I like them.
Yeah, I think he can. I think he's more of a second round guy.
Mm-hmm.
But it just depends how things fall, right? But yes, would I move up into the second to get him? Yes. Would I move back into the first to get him? I don't think so.
What about? I never asked you about this name, Tom.
I'm gonna move up in the second. Sorry, because I'm already up there.
So yeah, true.
Yeah. So take him in a second, yes.
Yeah. Oh, in 2 seconds, I would absolutely. What's your thoughts if they traded up to get? I know we talked about Zaven Collins from the edge from Tulsa. What about going a little bit bigger of a school? Ajalari, the edge rusher from Georgia.
Well, Collins is a linebacker.
Oh, he's listed as an edge, so I guess it depends on the scheme.
I guess he's what I mean. People out there tell me, you know what I mean, because everybody told me he was a linebacker. So people tell me what he really fucking is. I don't know. Like I said, I got to go watch him. I just hear his name a lot.
So I guess he would be
3-4. Is he a 3-4 linebacker?
I think
More so. Because then no, I don't want him. It doesn't fit what we do. So, where was the kid you were just saying? Right? Sorry.
Azeez Ajalari, the edge rusher from Georgia.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I like the name.
Yeah, rolls off the tongue well.
That defense is always tough there, so I mean, I like it. But again,
TTP, I don't consider Jordan Howard to be any factor.
Well, I would do this. I mean, and then I got two power backs and a burster, and Najee can run too, right? So, like, I mean, to you, right? No, I agree with you. I don't give a fucking rat's ass. Can he give me my third back, or he can just not be on the team? Doesn't really matter. But like, if I would go, people say, "Oh, it's not Boston Scott." Like, no, if Jordan Howard can play, he's going to make my football team over Boston Scott. Like, he just would. And then I just power back you to death. I smack you in the fucking mouth once in a while. Like, you want to win in November and December? I can't tell you enough how you do it. You got to be able to pound the football. You got to be able to run the football. But guess what, guys? Guess what? If you want me to fucking circle jerk you back for a second here, I'm going to circle jerk you earlier on in the show. The problem is, though, this owner doesn't want to run the football. So everybody out there who blamed Doug ad nauseum, you want to bitch about why sir? Well, first off, the reason Miles doesn't get carries is because it's Miles. But like,
oh, here we go.
The fact of the matter is you ain't getting 25, 30 attempts a lot of the time either from your backs. So, I mean, no, Jesse, I know what Najee Harris is. Like, Jesse, somebody asked me earlier, if all these guys weren't there at 12, who would you take? Right? And part of me almost said Najee Harris at 12. Because talent-wise, he's the top 15 fucking guy in this draft. Yeah. Talent-wise, he is. But teams don't value the running back as much as they unless they feel like a guy's generational, right? Like, he doesn't go there. But for me, knowing what I have in Jalen Hurts as a running type quarterback per se, like, I get as many running backs in the joint as I can because I got to mimic a little bit of the Baltimore Ravens end where I got to be able to pound the football. So for me, I would take Najee Harris at 12 if some guy, if Smith, Surtain, etc. weren't there. I would take Najee Harris over Jalen Waddle. I would take Najee Harris over J.C. Horn. I would take Najee Harris over Caleb Farley. But you all can tell me I'm crazy. You talk to me in 5 years from now. I'm just telling you, and I love it because we can timestamp it, and I can be wrong too. Najee Harris is a can't-miss running back in this league. He's a can't-miss. He's not going to be a miss. I promise you, Najee Harris is a damn good running back in this league for a good amount of time. Mm-hmm. Okay? Well, so book it. I take him at 12, fucking write it down.
You were talking about being – obviously we knew it wasn't going to happen, but it's a similar thing. You were saying on draft night at 21 that you would have taken Smith over Rager. DeAndre Swift.
Oh, yeah. Last year?
Yeah.
I would have taken him because I just think he's more of a playmaker. But – that's over Riker. I would have taken Jefferson over both of them. But, like, over Jalen, like, I could have got a couple guys in the second round. I would have taken over Jalen Riker. Mm-hmm. So that's the funny things. I know, Rob, they didn't take one in the first round, but they still value what they're trying to do as an offense. And what they're trying to do is run the football, right? They're trying to do is have an identity, though. Like last year, they had Ingram and Dobbins. So, and Alabama's a running back factory as well, TTP. Yeah, Harris is a beast, Chris. He absolutely is.
Listen, I've told you.
I like ETN. You got ETN over Najee Harris?
I don't know if I might have. Listen, I might be in the minority here, but I believe ETN's the third best running back. I have Javonte Williams over him.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, ETN's been a home run hitter for a long time there. So
he has.
That air quote tape highlights. Big plays have been going on since freshman year there. Mm-hmm. And he's one of them guys like he's still playing, right? Like this year, like
I feel like I've been hearing his name for like 10 years. Yeah.
So ETN's still 2 to me just because of what he's done. I don't disagree with you. I would put what's his face third though. So we're like not far off.
Well,
I would make it a little different.
I've told you before, like if they went defense, if they did their job at 12, I'll get cute and take Javonte Williams. I'll trade up in the first round to get him. If the other two are gone, you know what I'm saying? Like if Etienne and Najee are gone, I would do it. I know they're not going to do it, to your point, Tom, because the owner doesn't want to run the football, for God's sakes, even though they literally hired a coach who his main MO in Indianapolis was running the football. You know what I'm saying?
Well, maybe they learned something. I don't know. Like maybe they learned something. Like to me, I'm not running I'm not running up to take Najee at 12 because of the thing, but I would absolutely use a first next year and some assets to get back up into the first this year. And I don't got to go far. Like I might not have to give up a first because I can go from the 6th pick in the second round and something else and get back into the first round for Najee. Trade picks later on that you can maneuver and get a second round pick back later in the second round. So you don't feel like you're skipping around. So, I mean, listen, you can lead this first round with Surtain, Smith, Harris. I mean, even like an edge rusher and Najee Harris. Like there's ways that you can lead this first round and feel good about the direction, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, you have a handful of picks that you can deal. I mean, you're sitting right now with 12, 37, 79, 84, 123. Trade 79, 84. Trade 79, 84. You know what I'm saying? And 37 if you want to get back into the first.
When you might not even.
You don't need to use all. And that's the funny thing. You don't need all that.
I mean, can you get away without using 37? I don't think you can. Unless you wanted to give a first next year.
Oh, what? So you're saying get back in the first, but keep 37, so we would have 12, let's say 28 and 37 on draft night?
Yeah.
Oh, could you imagine?
Well, you need an influx, right? So I'm thinking like influx as quick as possible.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, though, they don't. They don't. But like I would use maybe, and it might not even be a first round pick, but I would try. Like I don't know if you're allowed to, but I would flip that close one real quick to get back up in the first round. Let somebody else take it.
And I feel like you're allowed to because people have flipped. Is that technically compensatory? What is that considered? Because it's based off of a scenario that hasn't happened yet. So that's tricky. But I'm pretty sure you can flip it.
Listen, there's tons of there's tons of talent throughout this draft. Too. Like, I mean, look for a guy like Wyatt Davis, right? Guard, Ohio State in the second round. Okay, just keep your eye on some of these things. All right, because there's some of the directions this team is known to go on draft day. So I mean, keep an eye on your linemen, keep an eye on your DNs, keep an eye on your offensive linemen. Keep an eye on some of them positions, right? Keep an eye on corner. That's an MO for them, right? Mm-hmm. Like it is. Wide receiver is always an MO for them. But this year it might not be early on. Like you might see them go wide receiver later on. Try to think of other things, like of other positions they really go to. Like think about
safe. I could see in the second round, maybe even one of their later picks, Javon Hollins, the safety from Oregon. I know they've been talking to. Even though like we look at the safety position, we're like, oh, we have a couple guys, but that they're not long-term pieces. You know what I mean, Tom?
Yeah, right. Like I could see, like I told you before, like I could see 2 corners and a safety with your first 3 picks. Like I could see it like very easily. Old school, Andy Reid days where they went Lito, Sheldon, and Michael Lewis. Like I could easily see that, and you can revamp a defense extremely quick, doing it that way. But again, you got to hit. So like you could go Surtain, Asante Samuel Jr., and then a safety.
You could, yeah. And and to answer Pop's question, I'm not just going to stick to one. I'll just give you some names that I would like in like the second round. And Tom, if you agree with this, let me know.
Sure, I got to know that if you don't, depend on what you got.
Okay, Jabril Cox has been a popular name for me. Obviously, the outside linebacker from LSU. You can't go wrong there. I mentioned Javon Holland, the safety from Oregon. You've obviously got Baron Browning from Ohio State, the linebacker. Dylan Moses. I know we've talked about Tom, the linebacker. Javonte Williams, running back. Let me see. Cisco later in the draft, the safety from Syracuse. I know there was an edge rusher.
Javon Holland's a good name. Another really good name, and I know they don't value it, but there's a couple. I like Dylan Moses a little bit.
Yep.
Even at 37 or 36, whatever the hell it is, 37.
37. Yep.
All right. I like Dylan Moses a little bit there. He's probably in my top 40 players in this draft. Another guy I like there too that could very well be there is Eric Stokes, corner from Georgia.
Really
so, there's ways you can go there. Rashad Bateman, wide receiver Minnesota, depending on which way you go in the first round, is a guy who could easily be there at 37. Depending on how the board goes, right? So I already said it. Wyatt Davis is a name to keep an eye on just because of their love for linemen. Sam Cosmi, offensive lineman, Texas, who's a moose knuckle. 6'7", 300 is another name. Rondell Moore, wide receiver Purdue, fits their MO a little bit, right? So
I like Terrace Marshall if he's there later, especially if you went cornerback first. I like him because he's a bigger wide receiver, and that's what we need. I'm not for getting all these little guys like we talked about, Tom. Like we have enough of those.
Yeah, be not a guy who's big, strong, and get open. But at this point, I'll just take somebody who can get it the fuck open.
Fair.
I don't want Rondell Moore because whatever fuck his name is, I forget now, because he's always hurt. But and he's little. He's like too little for me.
Yeah.
But there's a ton of names. Like there's a ton of names. When you talk about on the offense side of the football, you come away with some of these linemen, these offensive tackles, guards in the second round, because I think the way the board could go. Defensive tackles. There's some good ones in this draft too. Christian Barmar will probably be the first off the board from Bama, but these other guys could drop. You know what I mean? There's some of these other names that could drop, like Marvin Wilson, kid from Florida State. Levi Awuzurike, whatever the heck his name is, could drop, right? So he even talking about some of these edge rushers too, right? That this team's known to love, right? Can drop. So
yeah, like for example, this is where I had them actually trading to get additional picks later. But like in this scenario, fam, like I had them taking Devon A. Smith 12. Their next pick would be 44. I had them trading back, and I had them taking Eric Stokes, cornerback Georgia at 44. I had them taking Pete Werner, linebacker Ohio State.
Back from 37, you said?
Yes, because I have them getting an additional pick. I have them with 12, 44, 75, 77, and 84. So I have them really cashing in the later parts of the second, early parts of the third.
You're an issue. You're a big time issue. Some other things at 37. Okay, we said Asante Samuel Jr., Sean Wade, corner from Ohio State, Eric Stokes. Okay, we talked about Javon Holland maybe at 37. There's a lot of talent. I'm sorry, there's just like a lot of talent in this draft that you can get that's going to be there at 37, right? Like at 37, you should be able to leave this draft with 12 and 37 with stars, okay? With stars. There's no reason, and if you feel like the Eagles should if you agree that the Eagles should leave this draft at 12 and 37 with two impact Pro Bowl, all-pro caliber talent moving forward, hit that goddamn like button on YouTube. Hit that goddamn subscribe, and let's go. It's time to start building a freaking football team, even though we don't believe in Jeffrey Lurie or Howie Roseman. And watch, like we said this. Yeah, Matt, that's too easy, Matt. Smith, Stokes, Bill Cox, go to bed, right? Night. Matt, they'll butcher that. That's the problem. All these guys that we want, they won't do. Rye wonders every time he talks to me about doing draft stuff, I freaking get, oh my God, again, because they'll never draft guys I want. They never do.
And I always tell Tom, like, Tom, this is the time of year where we could be hopeful, because once the draft is here, we know we can't be hopeful anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's like the kid on Christmas. It's like we're assuming we're gonna get the great gifts. It's like, oh my God, the hype. And then once Christmas comes, it's like, oh wait. socks, and that's about it.
And we're definitely going to blow it.
Absolutely. That's why it's like get all the mock drafts in now. That way we can celebrate before reality actually hits. Like, hey, welcome back.
And listen, these are great names. I mean, these are all SEC players, Matt. And if you know anything about me, you know I live in the SEC. Doesn't mean they're all the ones that hit. That's crazy too. Wow. Jamarcus Monroe says that man Stokes allowed only one TD last season. It was Devontae Smith. And listen, Jamarcus knows. I mean, they're playing the big boys. They're playing the best of the best in the SEC. So I like Stokes a lot, and he's a guy who translates on the football field and in shorts and a t-shirt. So if you want the double dip, he translates both.
Matthew, that Devontae Smith, Stokes, Jabril Cox 1-2-3 punch. That's probably one of the better combination of the first three picks I would be able to illustrate to you. Like, if somebody asked me, like, you know, Ryan, Tom, what's like your dream scenario while also keeping it realistic for the first three picks? It's probably something close to that. Because I think they could all be there at those, you know, picks. I think Devontae could be there at 12, Stokes 37, Jabril 70. And they would all make sense because you're getting somebody with star caliber potential at wide receiver to help your quarterback at 12. Then you're addressing a big need at quarterback at 37 and a huge need at 70 at linebacker.
Yup. I mean, and even not that way. If Morgan Moses, you came away with that instead, if Cox wasn't there, that'd be a win.
Mm-hmm.
John says, can I remember the last time the Eagles drafted somebody I wanted? No. I mean, Carson probably. Just because of like they trade up to 2. Like, but I was yelling and screaming I would have taken Jalen Ramsey at 2.
You were. Yes, you were.
I'm a problem. You know what I mean? But guess what? The looks of things, Jalen Ramsey's a better player.
Would have panned out pretty good.
I told you all, there's certain positions I don't miss. All right? I'm not going to miss at corner, and I'm not going to miss at wide receiver. I'm not.
You got to give him the famous line, Tom. You've never missed on a DM in the history of your career? Or what's the line that you always say?
I never miss on a D-back in the history of my career.
There you go, D-back.
No, defensive back, I'll never miss. So like when I'm telling you Sertain's won, he's won. Like I'm not lying to you. Other guys are gonna sell you on shorts and a tee and sell you on bullshit. I'm gonna sell you on. You can tell me whatever tape you watch. This dude is an island cat. This dude can play man. He can play zone. He can freaking bump and run you. He can run with you. Okay, there's nothing he can't do. And he's long and he's athletic, which totally fits today's game. Everyone tell me how long and athletic the other guys are. This dude is long. This dude covers everybody's one in the best conference in college football. I mean, come on. And he covers the best ones every day. He's got to cover the Jerry Judys of the world, the freaking probably Calvin Ridley's of the world back in the day. He's had to cover every guy on the other side of the football at Alabama, too.
Michael C. wants to know from you, Tom, who was a better prospect, Okudah or Surtain?
No, Surtain, it's not even close. I mean, you're talking about Ohio State, right, Okudah?
Right? I believe so, yes.
Right, last year he went, it's Surtain. Okudah, I'm not saying Okudah's a reach. I'm just telling you, Surtain's built for this, baby. He's built for this. I cannot be more sure on a football player. He is so built for this.
I just don't know when people say, oh, I don't want Surtain. I don't know what they look at. Like, what don't you like about him? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right, there's no splash. You understand? Sometimes the best ones aren't going to give you splash, right? So there's not a lot of interceptions. You know why? Because he wasn't thrown at a lot. There's not a lot of special plays that come up on like film. They're like, oh my God. But he's always in position. All right. Yes, we'll be live on draft night. Don't even you worry about that. Rob, there's a video last year of me saying I wouldn't have traded, I think it was like a third rounder or a second, and Sidney Jones for Darius Slay. And not that I don't like Slay. It's just I thought once the Achilles got fully back, he would be able to play again. And at the end of the day, I saw a response from that kid at the end of 2 years ago, all right, in Sidney Jones. At the end of the year, that helped get us in the playoffs, and Brandon Graham spoke highly of him. I would have let him ride it out. But they're idiots. Maybe on fucking LeBlanc, fucking Frenchie, Avante Maddox, grow a fucking sack.
See, I'm not directing this at you at all, NFC East piece, but he says, I love Surtain, but he's just boring to watch. I don't need excitement for my secondary. Like, yeah, like I want interceptions, I want the flash, I want all that. But like, we've had too much excitement in the secondary as of late, like watching our guys get burnt to shreds. Do you know what I'm saying?
Brian has, and hear me out. Was Darrelle Revis fun to watch? Like sometimes, like not everybody's Dion. Not everybody's prime time. You know what I'm saying? He's long and athletic enough that he's going to get his share of picks early on in his career. Okay, because they're going to challenge him, unlike he's been challenged essentially at Bama when they'll stay away from him. I know what boring meant. Boring means productive. Boring means getting the job done. Like not everything's got to be flash. Yeah, Revis is fun to watch, but you tell me Surtain can't be fun to watch when they actually throw his way? Revis wasn't fun to watch when it became Revis Island. They didn't throw his way. He was fun to watch early on in his career when teams would challenge him. But what happens is you prove that don't fucking challenge me, like Surtain's proved at Bama. Don't come this way, he did his sophomore and junior year, and in senior year nobody goes his way, so he drops on boards. It's a crock of shit. So it's the same thing for Revis. If you would have drafted Revis 7 years as a pro, you're like, okay, you know what I mean, like what's really shown up on tape recently, like interception wise and stuff. Well, nobody's gonna throw his way anymore. So, exactly. And Dion was so fun to watch. That's the difference. Like Dion was just a pick machine. There's different types of corners. Like Jalen Ramsey to me is more of a comp to Patrick Surtain. Like they're comps to each other. Like he's going to make plays in the NFL because they're going to go at him. And then you see, okay, now you be a star.
I was saying this. I was yelling. I'll say this one thing real quick, and then because we got it before Sports Hound starts. But like I was yelling at Chrome. I was not yelling at Chrome. I was yelling to Chrome about this the other day. Like I get everyone's talking about the potential of J.C. Horn and Farley. I get it. And listen, do we want to talk about hey they have more flash than Surtain? Fine. But at the end of the day, given all that's going wrong with this organization and these draft picks over the last handful of years, I just want somebody to come in here, put him in a role that he can fit in, and just watch him go to work. I don't care if he's the greatest of all freaking time to come out of this draft. If he comes in and he gives us at least the peace of mind knowing, hey, every Sunday we have two cornerbacks that can do their jobs and feed off of each other, and we have a guy in Surtain that can eventually develop. I mean, he could be cornerback one today, honestly. But the luxury is we don't need him to be because we have obviously Darius Slay. I am perfectly cool with, hey, this guy Surtain, he's getting the job done. I don't need him to be flashy. I don't need him to have 10 interceptions. I want him to do his job.
But he will early on. That's the difference because teams will challenge him. They'll say, okay, we're going to go at the kid instead of go at Slay. And that's where everybody's twos are going to be, right? Mm-hmm. So he has an advantage there where he can make plays early on. And then that's what starts to say, like, okay, who do we attack? Right? And that's the level you have to prove, over being consistent, right? Which I believe the difference of Surtain from Horn and freaking Farley is he's consistent. Mm-hmm. Right? The greatest thing you can be, we talked about it last night on Agree or Disagree, is consistent as an athlete. And when you can be consistently good and great at your craft, you're going to be a damn good corner in this league. And I'm telling you guys right now, if we talk about if Smith and Surtain are there, I went the direction the Eagles would go. Right? I got Devontae Smith walking into a gold jacket. Okay? But guess who might be wearing one right behind him? Okay? Because this dude can play for freaking 14 years. Because of how good he is already with his feet and positioning and never being out of it. That's so important.
It is.
So important. Guys get beaten this league because they're out of position. Everybody's got talent. Everybody's got speed. Everybody can play, but you're long, athletic, and in position, and you're smart. Your football IQ is off the charts because of daddy too. Play the same position. No brainer. Right? We talked about this a million times. You know what I mean? Which is fun. I mean, we talked about, I would take him at 6. So, I mean, fuck it, 12. Fuck. I would take Smith at 6 too. But
I think, what is it, 18 days until draft night, Tom?
Yeah.
Something crazy.
Right
buckle your seats.
Yeah, buckle in, everybody. Hit that like button if you haven't over on YouTube. Hit that subscribe, share on Facebook. What was I going to say? Okay, so Sports Hound's coming up here. They'll be up in a couple minutes.
Thank you, Slipknot, by the way. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, brother. And give me 1 second. And we got Flight Zone up at 9:30. I'll be on with Evan tonight because Jimmy can't make it. So we'll have some Sixers, finish off reactions. And I was hoping to have some Phillies, but that didn't age well. So it'll be some Sixers. And then stay tuned because the Sports Hounds have Rich Pilon on, former Islander. So go check that out. Rob's not with them tonight, so there'll be some fill-ins over there on the Sports Hounds. I think Frank and I know Maddie will be joining Brad at some point too. So go soak in some hockey talk. Flyers stink. That's fun. For the draft's almost here, Tay. You know it, brother. It's almost here, baby. Let's go. Let's hit on a pick or two or three. One goddamn time. For Tom, Ryan, the family, we love you. We can't thank you all enough for it. 10-9-8. Let's go get a dub tonight, right? End this road trip a little 3-1, right? Really end this road trip good after that shit fucking loss in Memphis, okay? That shit fucking loss, end well, all right? Now how you finish, how you end, all right? So let's go end well. Now how you start, how you finish, or whatever the fuck I said. I don't even know. And I got to do another show too. So love you guys. Thank you to the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox for sponsoring every Monday morning quarterback. We know many of us and our families deal with mental health and addiction issues. We are happy to support the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. If you need help, please call 856-651-8117. Hey, go get help if you need it, family. All right? I mean it. And my guy Rob Lutman down there that you can call, he'll take care of you. Guy's been sober for freaking ever now. And if it's mental health and not addiction, they got you covered there at the Counseling Center. So we love you guys. Stay tuned for the Sports Sounds coming up now.